Hey everybody! Hello, 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 hello. Oh, Facebook is building an audience. Yay, yay, yay. Hi everybody. Hey you, hey. Come on in, come on in. Come on in. We are getting ready, you guys. Come on in, come on in. Hello. Hi Maisha. How are you? Hi, everybody. So we are getting ready for tonight's Facebook Live on Positioning to Win. We did part 1 last week. We're going to do part 2 tonight. So hello. Send me some love. Let me see who is out there. This is Dr. Nicole. So if you are not a part of our Facebook Live audience on Tuesday nights, you now know where you need to be. We are going to be hanging out here at around 9:15-ish. Hi, brother! 9:15-ish. We are usually Eastern Standard Time. We are usually hanging out in this space, so you need to come and join us. If you are not a part of our Live Like You Matter group, you definitely need to join us there. Love. You need to join us there. Ask Dr. Nicole. All of our social media handles are under Ask Dr. Nicole. So you definitely need to come on in and follow us and be our friends and all that good stuff. Hold on. We're waiting for a couple more people to join. Yay! Exciting. So tonight we are going to be talking about positioning to win. So if you do not have a beverage, if you do not have your notebook, you need to go get it. Hurry up, run, go get it so you won't miss anything. And if you did not watch part 1, you absolutely know, if you did not watch part 1, you need to watch part 1 of Position to Win so that you are in the know of exactly what is going on. I'm just going to review a little tiny bit, but not a whole lot. So, hey, Maisha, yay! I appreciate you too. So if you have not seen part 1 of this message, definitely go and check it out. It's in all of our Facebook communities, whether it's my fan page at Ask Dr. Nicole. If you're a personal friend of mine, you probably see it in that space. And if you are in our Live Like You Matter group, you don't miss anything. We try to make sure that you have first dibs access to all of the videos. Hi, Rhonda! And all of that good stuff. If you have some friends right now that need to hear this message, reach out to them. Let them know that we are here and they need to come join us. They need to get their snacks, get their beverage, get their notebook. Just come on in. Plenty of room. What else do I want to say? So listen, if you have not signed up, and I'll talk about it as well later, love you too. If you have not signed up for our vision board party, you are missing out. I'm telling you, you want to be there. You want to be there. It's going to happen on January the 8th. At 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. It's $37. I mean, you know, we spend that on all kind of stuff. So I'm really hoping you're going to invest in yourself. Why? Because community is super important as it relates to getting your goals manifested and doing what you need to do. So you want to check it out. You want to see, if you're in our Live Like You Matter group, you're seeing all kind of ads for it, so you can just click on the link, and I'm sure Maisha or Lindsay will put up that link for you during our talk tonight, so that if you want to get involved, you can. But if you go to any of my social media handles, you can join our festivities on the 8th, because we're going to be talking about vision. You'll get to create your vision board for 2017. It is not going to get any better than that. So you want to be a part of it. And I have a special super friend that's going to be joining us. She's pretty fabulous. So we're going to be talking a little bit more about that as well. so that you can get a handle on what the offering looks like and you can join. If you are really serious about some of the goals that you're trying to go after in 2017, you definitely want to be a part of our coaching group, because yours truly, I want to be your coach. Of course, and I see the power and know the power of working together and coming together in community and getting things done together in that kind of space of accountability. So if you see any ads for that or any posts for that, the links, all that good stuff, you want to check it out and see, okay, am I really serious this year about getting into 2017 and doing it differently, making sure that some of the things that I've talked about, some of the things that I've said that I wanted to do, that I really want to go for it this time and I really want to make it happen. So definitely check us out as it relates to the Live Like You Matter group coaching, so that you can join us for that in January. And tonight we are going to be talking about positioning to win. One of my favorite things to talk about. So, if you saw part one talked about the vision, right? And it talked about vision as far as visibility versus feasibility. So you're going to have to check it out so that you really get the whole foundational principle of the difference between visibility and feasibility as it relates to the vision. And then we talked about the ask. We had this super rich conversation about the ask. What are you asking for? What is it that you're trying to position yourself to win? What is it that you're trying to position yourself to be successful at? What is that all about? And are you asking the necessary questions? Because many of the conversations in my community are about whether or not you are living like you matter, so that you can maximize how you're using your time, how you're using your resources, what your mindset is positioning for you, and are you really navigating your life as someone that matters, right? So let's talk about this position to win in an even deeper level at this point. So here's the thing. This may sound really strange to some people, but I think you're gonna get it. That's Nicholas, you guys, my dog. He wants to make it clear that he's in the room, so forgive us for that. But do you really want what you are telling yourself you're positioning for? What other people are telling you that you should position yourself for? And what you're going for? Do you really want it? So when we talked about vision and we talked about the ask in part one, we talked about things like visualization, right? So what are you envisioning down the road? And we talked about, what do you see? What is it that you see? What's happening around you? Who are the people? What are you feeling? What are you sensing? What do you smell? What are they doing? What are you doing? Hey, Raymer! That's my buddy. What are you doing? What are you feeling? What are you sensing? What's happening around you? I mean, we got down to like, what are the colors on the wall? Like, what are the people that are there? Who are you serving? What's happening? How are you serving them? We talked about all of this stuff. And we talked about the ask of what questions are you asking. But once you get through all of that, you can see it. You figured out the feasibility, visibility thing. You figured out what questions really need to be asked. The biggest one is, now that you have all of that, do you really want it? Do you really want it? Now, that's not a gimme. That's not a gimme, okay? Because when you really want something, your mindset is different. What you're willing to engage in with other people is different. What you're willing to tolerate as it relates to other people's opinions of what you want is different. Everything is repositioned when you decide that you really want something. That the vision that you have, that the visualization that you've created for this thing, I really want this. And I'm not afraid to say that I really want it. And I own the vision. I own what I visualize. I own the vision. I don't apologize for it. And now I'm in full agreement, okay, with God that, yeah, okay, it's me and you going after this thing. Because that creates a very different position than somebody that has the vision, has the visualization, but they haven't yet decided that it's what they really want. So, what does that look like? You know how you may think you struggle with procrastination? There are a lot of people come to me all the time and they're like, you know, Dr. Nicole, my biggest issue is procrastination. That's okay. Talk to me about it. Biggest issue, procrastination. And I say, well, what does that look like? And they're like, you know, well, there's so many things that I can do, you know, and I start to think about, you know, where my resources are going. I start to think about, okay, do I really want to do this? Do I want to do it this way? And then before you know it, I have this whole list of things and I'm not sure what to do. And I say, okay, make a decision. And they're like, well, that's the problem. No. That's the answer. The problem is the decision to not make a decision. So let me talk on that. There's no such thing, you guys, as passivity. Passivity does not exist. You're either making a decision with deliberate intention or you're allowing the decision to be made by default. But either way, it's a decision. One is with you being totally engaged and committed. The other is with you not being totally engaged, not being committed, and in your indecision, a decision is made for you. Think about it. So when you're procrastinating, a lot of times what you're really doing is you are forcing a default decision. If you're waiting till the last minute, you're defaulting a decision that is less than your absolute best. Even if you're one of those people, ooh, I just work so great under pressure. Yes, take nothing away from working great under pressure. But if you're procrastinating, that's something different. Because even people that work really great under pressure have a plan, right? So you look at most Olympians and athletes, especially Olympians, they work under intense amounts of pressure. And it's one specific moment in time, right? So it's the Olympics. And everything they're doing is moving them towards optimal performance in the Olympic Games. Pressure situation, high pressure situation, but they're not procrastinating training and then showing up at Rio expecting this is going to be a major victory. They are making decisions every day along the way towards something that they visualize, something that they have a vision for, and something that they've decided that they want. They've decided, now that I can see it, now that I've envisioned it, I've asked the real questions, and the ultimate is, do I really want it? Because once you've decided that you really want it, hey cuz, once you've decided that you really want it, you're not willing to engage in a lot of default decision making. Instead, what you're doing is positioning yourself to win by understanding, if I make a decision and it does not work out, my only request is to live to make another decision. Because somewhere along the line, as I'm making decisions intentionally with clarity and connection to the vision and what I visualized, I know that I am closer to the manifestation of it, because all of the decisions that I make with an intentionality to position myself for the win. But I am affording that through being decisive, not through being indecisive. So when people will say, I don't know, in coaching relationships, I say, you do know. And they say, no, I really don't know, Dr. Nicole. No, you really do know. Do you want it? Do you not want it? Are you willing to put in the work? Are you not willing to put in the work? Are you willing to be wrong? Are you not willing to be wrong? Are you willing to make a decision? And if it's the wrong decision, realize wrong is relative. People that live like they matter practice positioning the win because they too realize wrong is relative. Sometimes it's the timing, but even the timing not being optimal and you getting a no, it's data. It's not rejection. You getting a no is trying to teach you and give you some other valuable information that you're going to need to use as you position yourself to win. So for them, it's not a matter of whether every decision is perfect. It's a matter of whether I'm going to be intentional about my decisions and be strategic about my decisions. And if any decision comes back as one where I'm saying, not so much. Maybe I should have gone left instead of right. It's okay. I will do what is necessary to self-correct. And in self-correcting, I will be more strategic in moving forward towards the goal. Now, positioning yourself to win. When you think about who's on board in this positioning, that becomes very critical. Hey, Terry, who's on board in your positioning? So, who do you see as contributors to what you're trying to position in the win? Who do you see as contributors? And contributors are people that you might consider to be on your team, okay? You've got your cheerleaders, you've got your accountability people, you've got people that are going to help you actually do the work to manifest the vision that you visualize. Because let's face it, most things that are out of the realm of you being able to do them by yourself, they require other people in some level or context. Even if everybody can't see the vision totally the way that you do. And let me talk about that for just a second. Some people get gun shy when they share the vision and other people can't see it immediately. Don't get gun shy about the vision that you visualize if everybody can't see it immediately. God gave the vision to you. Some people will be able to see it off the bat. Some people, it's going to scare them half to death. So you have to use wisdom in who you share it with. Especially if some of those people are people that you're saying to yourself, I think this person should be on my team as a contributor to helping manifest this vision. You may have to take them slowly to help them see the vision piece by piece, because they may not be able to get it in that first level of people that are contributing to the manifestation of the vision. So you've got to know who you're involving, and you don't want to involve a whole lot of people, but you want to have criteria for the people that you involved in the vision? Are these people going to hold you accountable? Are these people going to help to open a door for you so that you can walk through it? Are these people gatekeepers to what you are trying to manifest? Therefore, they need to be a part of what's happening because they are keys to access for you. Are these people resource? Now here's the thing. There's a difference, you guys, between a resource and a source. There's only one source that I acknowledge. Man upstairs. One source. Everything else is a resource. So part of what we talked about in part one is understanding that there is a difference, because once you've aligned with the source, then you realize everything else is given by the source in the form of a resource, and you realize if one resource has either dried up or it's not showing up the way it used to, it's okay, because the source can give you another resource, right? So on your team, are there gatekeepers that you need to access or communicate with? Are there people that need to be a part of your network? They need to be a part of the conversation about what you visualize. In part one, we talked about the visualization and the vision being about a home for women and children. You know, you have this unction to create a home where these women and children who are down on their luck and having a hard time can live and be and restore and come back to life and in a whole space, right? So in talking about that in that part one version of this topic, we said, you know, you've got to visualize all of what's happening on this. It was a farm. We talked about, you know, acres of land and horses and equine therapy and all this stuff. You got to watch it. But what kind of network do you need to start connecting with to help move forward the manifestation of a vision for something like that? Right? And when you think about the network, let's talk about that just a little bit. When you think about the network, I want you to think about people that are just a couple of degrees of separation from you. One of the things that I think is so cool about things like LinkedIn and stuff like that, even your Facebook friends, it's cool about that, is a lot of times you're thinking about your immediate circle of influence, when really you should truly be thinking about who is 2 and 3 degrees of separation away from your immediate circle of influence. So take the time, you guys, to look at the people that have friended you. Look at the people who are connected to you on LinkedIn and figure out who's in my network. 3 degrees, 4 degrees. Hey, Shakia, who's in my network that I need to reach out to and say, hey, here's what I'm doing. Here's the vision. Here's what I visualize. And I really think us making a connection would be powerful to the manifestation of this vision. Who's advocating for you? Who can advocate for you with an even greater level of resource access than what you have right now? Who can sit at the table in a closed room where you are not there, and they can advocate for who you are, what you bring to the table, and why this vision is safe and uniquely represented by you being the keeper of the vision? Who are those people? People that live like they matter and position to win can tell you who those people are in reference to the vision that they're trying to manifest. That's not a mystery to them. because so much is about strategy and alignment. Alignment in reference to how they are activating their faith, how they are submitting to the manifestation of what it is that they want, how they've decided to activate actions that speak to their faith and belief that it's actually possible to move towards this happening. So it's not a mystery to them. When they say this happened by the grace of God and hard work, what we're talking about is the hard work part, right? So there's an understanding that there is a God element that they cannot control, that they have to surrender to, they have to be moved and guided by, and then there's a part for them that they have to work towards. So let's even talk just a second about how do you decide what to want? So I'm going to go back there just to help some folks that are like, Dr. Nicole, like, you went ahead, but I'm still trying to decide what to want. What's okay to want? I'm going to give you some hints. People talk about passion. People talk about inspiration. People talk about God-given gifts and talents. Because here's the thing, you guys. The greatest commodity is not money. It's not. I don't care what anybody says. Now, do not get me wrong. When you have it, it gives you access to being able to say yes and no to a myriad of things. It gives you access and exposure to things that you wouldn't readily have. Take nothing away from it. But that's not the greatest commodity. The greatest commodity is time. So when time is the greatest commodity and you understand that, you also understand where you use your time, how you use your time, and what you use your time doing is super critical. So to those of you that are saying, I don't know what to say yes to, when you say to me, what is it that I want? That is part of my confusion. My answer to you would be, what are you passionate about? Let me make it real clear. What gives you life? Makes you feel alive? When you're doing it, when it's happening, when it's in front of you, when it's around you, you feel alive. You feel like everything kind of makes sense. Passion. Inspiration. It gives you energy. It gives you energy. If it happens, you feel a shift. One of the women that prays for me, she says, you feel it in your cha-cha. You feel it, something shifts in you. So you remember the story that it talks about in the Bible where the woman touched Jesus' clothing, and he said, who touched me? Right? And everybody was, my paraphrasing, of course. Everybody is like, yo, we are in a sea of people right now. What do you mean? He knew it because energy left him. So if he could feel that energy leaving, you can feel the energy coming. That for me is inspiration. When you can feel a shift, when you are present in something that is inspiring to you, and God-given gifts. So let me give you an example of inspiration. For me, when I am in a place where the acoustics are amazing, it inspires me to hear a song, to hear myself sing, to hear other people sing. If I can hear that acoustic feeling, it's like my hairs on my arms start to raise. It does something for me. when I hear an encouraging word where I want to write it down and where I'm like, ooh, that's good. I feel that as inspiration, partly because I speak, partly because I teach, partly because I coach. It makes perfect sense to me. What is that for you? And God-given gifts and talents. Now, I don't know how to play the piano, but I bet you, because I can move in discipline and because I love to learn, I could learn how to play the piano, but I would never be as good as Prince, ever. I'd never be as good as Prince because I didn't start with a God-given gift and then cultivate it. I just started with, it'd be cool to learn how to play the piano. Hey, David, it'd be cool to learn how to do that. But that's not a God-given gift for me. So what is that for you? And if you had the opportunity to cultivate it, what would that look like? So those are just some keys, because remember, you can say yes to a lot of things, but what you want to try to do is to say yes to the things, especially when you're talking about vision and visualization. You want to try to say yes to the things that fit your DNA, fit your package, right? So for Prince's package, learning multiple instruments made all the sense in the world because he was already here with that, right? So now it's just about cultivation and opportunity and aligning with those gifts and talents to manifest something amazing. So what's in your lane means you're giving yourself, we talked about this in part 1, you're giving yourself permission to feel and understand what is uniquely you. What is uniquely you? Because all of us bring something very different to this equation we call life. That's why every time a life leaves, there is an understanding that something left here. I almost think that's kind of what grieving is about too. It's an understanding that something that had great energy was here, and now the mission is over and they've transitioned. So think about that stuff when you're trying to even decide, what am I going to say yes to, and what am I going to say, man, that's an awesome idea, but that's not mine. It's amazing, it's awesome, but it doesn't fit with the story that I'm navigating, that I'm writing, because we know that we are the writers, right? We hold the pen in our hand. So I want you to think about that networking aspect, right? But I want you to also recognize that people that live like they matter and they're positioning the win are great stewards. Hey, Angela. They're great stewards of mindset. Great stewards of mindset. Partly because they're practicing it, right? So here's one of the things that is very critical that I realize is necessary when you're trying to position the win. You have to be able to decipher the difference between facts and feelings. You have to decipher the difference between facts and feelings, because feelings are funny, right? Feelings will show up sometimes as facts because they'll pull to be a fact based on whether or not you are willing to take a moment to say, is this a fact or is this a feeling? And it doesn't take long to figure it out. You just have to stop sometimes to give yourself room to figure it out, right? And you have to do that when positioning the win, because everything can't be about just feeling that is pulling to be a fact. Why not, Dr. Nicole? Why can't it just be about how I feel? Because feelings change quickly. I can start this webinar tonight feeling crappy and cruddy and like the world is over. And 15 minutes later, I can feel like the world is everything and life is awesome and in a matter of an instant. That's what I can do. Hey, Yolanda! Y'all, that's Yolanda K. She is going to be a part of our vision board party. It's going to be fabulous. You need to check it out. I'm just saying. So you got to decide, when is something a feeling and when is something a fact? Because feelings sometimes, if they are moving without you stewarding the feeling, they can show up as fear, and fear can show up as a fact. But that doesn't mean it's a fact. Give me an example, Dr. Nicole, because I don't want to miss you on this. So one of the most crude things I think about suicide, and this is one of those examples, but one of the things that I think is most crude is when the person is sometimes feeling like it's just not going to get any better than this. They are totally immersed in the feeling, but not able to recognize that just because the feeling is real does not make the feeling a fact. So just because I feel like tomorrow is not going to be any better than today does not make that a fact. It just makes it a feeling. I feel like crap. I feel like this is it. This is as good as it's going to get. And tomorrow is going to be just as crappy. The problem is tomorrow is not here yet. So it is a feeling, but it's not factual. It's not based in truth and real reality, right? So when you're positioning the win, yeah, it might look scary, right? It might look like, uh-oh, I don't know if I have what it takes to make this happen. I don't know if I can make it through this. As a matter of fact, I don't think I can. I think this is going to take me out. Oh, Lord, it's going to take me out. That's a feeling. It's not a fact. So if you press towards that not being a fact, you can get through the moment, steward your mindset, recognize I have to steward my thoughts. I cannot allow my thoughts to just run all over the place because I am trying to position the manifestation of something that I already know is bigger than me. I already know it's not something I can accomplish on my own. I already know that I am going to need resources and my source and creator to work with me to manifest this. I already know I have to deal with change. I already know that I have to make decisions. It's like all of this is going on right now. I have to steward what my mind is thinking. So for all of the people out there that might be like, okay, Dr. Nicole, you know that whole affirmation thing I think is like a bunch of crock. Beware, it is not. It's a stewardship of your mindset. Affirmations are you stewarding your mindset the same way you would steward a bank account. If you are allowing negative things to be your self-conversation on a continuous basis, you're not stewarding your mindset to position the win. Because in order to position the win, you also need a level of clarity and belief in yourself that you're the right person for the job. So how are you going to think that you're the right person if every 5 seconds you are kicking your own behind? I'm just saying, don't shoot the messenger. But if every 5 minutes you are telling yourself what you're not, what's not possible, why you're not the right person, why somebody else deserves it and you don't, why, and you're coming up with all this stuff, you tell me that a positive affirmation wouldn't help. That stuff that you're doing, those are negative affirmations. They're negative, and they're affirming what you don't want. So they have weight, they have value, they're worth something. They're worth something in reference to either positioning a loss or positioning a win. Let's talk a little bit about that mindset in reference to nouns. Yes, I said nouns, people, places, things. People, places, and things are very, very important for positioning the win. That is why people who live like they matter and are practicing a live like you matter lifestyle, they're practicing, listen, I matter. When I show up to serve, it makes a difference. When I love, it makes a difference. When I receive love, it makes a difference. If the people, places, and things in your life support a negative affirmation, you got to make a shift, because they are directly, not indirectly, they are directly related to that vision manifesting. Directly, not indirectly. Because to a very large degree, they're silent derailers. So many people talk about, the things that it may seem at times you can't control. Well, these are things that you can control. How do I control them, Dr. Nicole? A couple of ways. If there are people, places, and things in your life that you don't feel that you can shift, family, keep your vision to yourself, because there are people that are vision assassinators, right? They assassinate people's vision. Keep it to yourself. They can't handle it. They're not going to help you with it. They can't see it. Everything is wrong. Everything is half empty. Everything is impossible. Don't share it. They'll assassinate it. And they will give you negative affirmations to use against yourself. If you know you have certain triggers, don't engage and seduce those triggers onto yourself. Because anytime you have a trigger of a place that drains you, a person that drains you, a thing that drains you. Hey, Andre, anytime you have that, it's going to pull energy out of you, and you need that. Let's be clear. Remember, when we're talking about vision, we're talking about visibility, right? But we're talking about visibility of something that you are clear. You cannot manifest on your own. It's not an ego trip. You're clear about it because it's big, right? It's no need having a vision about a little itty bitty thing that you can manipulate and do it all yourself. That's what makes the vision so amazing, is that it's God inspired and directed. You can't do it by yourself. By the time you get there, you will be a bad so-and-so because you would have learned, grown, and had fun along the journey, right? So you really can't afford people that every time this person, place, or thing connects with you, you go into a slump where you're now 15 feet below the concrete, and then you got to pull yourself back out to just get on land again. You can't afford it, and you have to know who they are, so that not only you're stewarding your greatest commodity of time, but you're stewarding your mindset so that you don't allow them to invade and come on in and derail what is possible. Here's why it's so critical. There are certain people that have access to you that can not only assassinate your vision, but they can distort it. So your vision was one thing. You were clear about that thing. It felt like and it looked like it was a clear picture that poured out of you. And then somebody comes along, they're a bit of a negative affirmation in your life in a lot of different ways, if you're honest about it. And now all of a sudden the vision is something totally different. And it's not in a good way. Well, Dr. Nicole, how do you know that? Doesn't fit you. Might be cool, but it doesn't feel like a customized shoe. Divinely orchestrated visions may scare you half to death, but they feel like a divinely orchestrated pair of customized shoes for your feet. Bunions, corns, size 12, size 18 and all. They still feel like, man, if I could put my foot in that shoe, that would work. That would work. That's how you know. Because it can be really scary, but as scary as it may be, you guys, it still feels like if you could wear that shoe would be a shoe for you. And that's what you want. You want it to be the kind of situation where though it's scary and it seems like, yo, that is so far in the distance. We talked in part 1 about having this house and this amazing place, but being like, I don't even have a house that I live in on my own. How am I now going to have a house 5, 10, 15 acres where these women and their kids can live and their horses and there's all of this stuff? How am I going to do that? Well, that's feasibility. But when you take all of that away and you say to the person, but if I can make that happen for you, what would that feel like? When you're like, oh my God, if that could happen, that's what's up. That's when you know it's yours. That's when you know it's big, it's scary, I can't do it by myself. But now I'm clear it's worth protecting. It's worth protecting it and making sure that nobody else comes along and assassinates the possibility of it, because it's my job to help bring this to life. Whatever that may be, because that's the other thing. It's not about judgment of it. Be really, really careful about the people that you let judge your stuff. Because many times they're judging something based on not being able to see it. And they weren't supposed to be able to see it. You were the visionary. You're the person that's supposed to see it. So you got to be really protective, not from the standpoint of not being willing to be vulnerable, because that's different. You got to be vulnerable in your vision, but you can't be reckless. Vulnerability and recklessness are different. Vulnerability is, I got to tell folks what I'm doing because that's part of how my resource is going to come. Right? My mom used to say, closed mouth doesn't get fed. Okay? So you got to let people know reasonably what's going on so that your team can be built and different things can take place towards the manifestation. Recklessness is, you know that person is not positive about a whole lot of things. You know that they judge a lot of things as impossible. Why take the risk? For what reason? For what gain? Right? Anybody got any questions out there? I know this is like, it's a lot of content. It's a lot coming out. Anybody have any questions? You know, if you're in our Live Like You Matter group, you can absolutely ask us any questions about any Facebook Live that I do. But if you're here now and you have a question, feel free to ask me the question. Last but not least, in positioning the win, one of the things that I talk about probably in every aspect of what I do is congruence between how God sees you and how you see yourself. Part of the reason I talk about that in connection to almost every Live Like You Matter practice that we speak of in some way, fashion, or form is because when you have a congruent connection between how God sees you and how you see yourself, you notice there's not a lot of space between my two hands being pressed together because they are congruent. They are seeking to be one with the other. It's where all kinds of opportunity and vision and all kind of stuff comes from this place. The further apart you are from how you believe God sees you and how you see yourself, the more there is opportunity for crazy in the middle. And crazy in the middle looks like confusion. It looks like procrastination. It looks like passivity. It looks like fear that is paralyzing, partly because you don't even believe you're worth the vision. And a vision has got to come out of you without you aborting the vision. So if a vision is put in you, and then you now have to bring the vision out of you, but because you don't see yourself as worthy, you are chopping and hacking and chopping it up because you can't see yourself worthy of something so amazing and so miraculous and so dynamic, then the greatest threat to your success is you. And people that are positioning the win are trying to limit the liability. They are trying to minimize the liability, minimize anything that is going to come in interruption with the manifested vision. Now, I'm not talking about crude and greed and they're being manipulative, and that's not what I'm talking about. But what they're seeking to do is protect the baby so that the baby can manifest and come to life. They're seeking to minimize the risks of assassination and the risks of being uprooted. And they're trying to minimize liability. So realizing, OMG, I have got to position myself first because I am one of the greatest threats of the vision not coming to pass and it being derailed, and the absolute greatest asset, absolute greatest earthly asset to the vision is you. So if you're still confused that God chose you and this is about you doing it and it being a vision that was given to you, if you're still rebutting all of that, then you are the scariest thing to the vision. But the coolest thing, you guys, is that you have under your control. That's the one thing that you can absolutely control is closing the gap and lining up and saying, listen, I don't know why nobody else got the vision for the first tutu. Yes, I did say tutu. You know, I'd be crazy sometimes. A tutu, you know, the thing that all of the little ballerinas wear in the little recitals that somebody probably said to the inventor, that's stupid. It causes it has no purpose. Why would you need to wear that? Yeah, it's that stupid that if you go to a little kid's recital and you don't see one, you're like, they don't wear tutus no more? They're so cute. But what is the purpose of one? Doesn't help you get on toes any better. It doesn't help the pirouette. It doesn't help you dance better or leap. It doesn't help you do anything. But whoever invented it did not allow other people to come along and tell them why it was the dumbest thing they ever heard of and assassinate that vision. Therefore, all over the world, there are wonderful mommies and daddies that are going out and they are spending money on this thing called a tutu so that their little girl can wear it in a recital. Whoever that was, they got it. And they wouldn't let anybody come along and tell them how dumb it was, why it wasn't them, why nobody would do it, why nobody would wear it, what's the purpose, what's the use, and why you don't even sew. And as a result, I don't know a lot of people that don't know what a tutu is. How funny is that? But who is the joke on? The joke is not on the visionary. The joke is on the people that thought they had the power to derail the visionary. But when somebody has a vision and they are sold that the vision is theirs, watch out. Everybody back up, give them 50 feet, back up. Because that thing is coming to life. It's in the right hands. That person owns it. That person accepts the responsibility of it, and the resources come. Ask anybody. Once you start to strategize and position and bring the right people into the mix and stop doing feasibility and start asking the right questions and steward your mindset, all the things that we've talked about, things just start happening. And now you have a choreographed dance of what is before you, that day by day it's manifesting minute by minute. So listen, you guys, next Tuesday we will have a Facebook Live. Christmas would have passed, but I'm so excited about Christmas. I'm so excited about the holidays. It's my favorite time of year. But we will be back here next Tuesday. And I want you to join our group. If you are not a part of the Live Like You Matter group, ladies, the Live Like You Matter group is for you. You need to join. If you know you are serious about 2017 and you know that vision is where it's at, I'm telling you, I'm trying to tell you, you need to be a part of our vision board party. We are going to be talking about visioning. We're going to be talking about the vision board, what you need to have on it, what you need to take off of it, because it's not your vision. It belongs to somebody else. So let's not waste our greatest commodity of time there. You need to join. Yolanda K and I are going to be in there. We are beasts. You are not ready for all the fun that we are about to have. It's going to be $37, so you need to sign up so that you can have fun in the party with us. It's going to be on January the 8th, Sunday, January the 8th at 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. So for our people out in California, that is 3:30 Pacific Standard Time for you. And if you recognize at this point that there is true power in working together in a group of women that can be your team, that can be your advocates, that can really stand with you together, and to have a coach that would lead you, have your back, all that good stuff, you need to join the Live Like You Matter coaching group. You can find out about it on any one of my social media platforms. Ask Dr. Nicole will get you any type of information of anything that's going on with me. So if you just scroll through just half a second, you'll probably see a link for you to join either. And tell your girlfriends. Let me say something about our vision board party that's going to be coming up. It is virtual, you guys. So even for some of your girlfriends that you have not talked to in forever, and you keep saying, we got to catch up, we got to get together, we got to get together. Listen, you guys come to the party virtually together. Get your favorite snacks. Don't hate on Yolanda and I, because we're going to have snacks. We're going to have snacks, you guys. So don't hate on the snacks that we have. Bring your beverages, bring your snacks, bring your mindset for the vision. For some of you that are big time on the scrapbooking, Yolanda K is a scrapbook queen. If that's your thing, you want to bring pictures, you want to bring all of that stuff with you to the vision board party. If not, you want to be ready to do Pinterest. And we'll tell you a little bit more about that as we go. Okay? But either way, we want you there. We want you to be connected to our community. So, do what you got to do, you guys, to join us on January 8th. And then do what you got to do to join us in our group coaching group, our Live Like You Matter group coaching group. And realize that we're